Welcome to the Real Film Nerds Podcast.
Welcome, film buffs and film nerds. It is time to get your game on for this week's episode 213,
Yes.
Boss Level, currently streaming on the Hulus. As you heard there, that is my co-host, Mr. Mysterious Mike, and I am just Matt Hinshaw. Mike, go for it. What are you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, Matt, you're not mysterious or dark or happy or like what can we use to describe you, Matt? Like Gentile?
Well, since I named you, you have to name me.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to think about that.
All right. Well, while you're thinking about that, Mike, why don't you go ahead and give us the rundown for 2021's Boss Level, starring Frank Grillo.
Sure, Matt. So this is directed by Joe Carnahan, and it was the screenplay was written by Chris Borey, Eddie Borey, and Joe Carnahan. And this movie is starring Frank Grillo, Mel Gibson, Naomi Watts, Michelle Yeoh. I'm sure I messed that up. I'm sorry. And it's about a retired special forces officer who's trapped in a never-ending time loop on the day of his death.
I thought this movie was going to be absolute crap. I thought it was going to be a ripoff of Groundhog Day and Happy Death Day, and it was going to be another stupid, boring time loop, same day repeat thing over and over, and it wasn't going to be any good because Hulu bought it. It was supposed to come out in the theaters over a year ago, but, you know, COVID. And I was pleasantly surprised. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I thought it was action-packed, funny. Fun. I really liked it. I wish I could have seen it in the theaters. Mike, what are your first impressions?
I like this movie. I thought it was pretty fun, Matt. It's entertaining. You know, they did the time looping shtick pretty good. There's a few things that were a little rough around the edges to me, but overall, it was pretty fun, and I enjoyed it. I laughed quite a bit.
A lot of the special effects were pretty bad. I'm thinking of one specifically where a vehicle blows up that just looked really bad. But for the most part, I really enjoyed it. I mean, this is a popcorn flick, you know, that missed being in the theater.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it was fun. I mean, it was a ride. It was turn your brain off and just go on this crazy ride movie, and I like that about it. It's great. You know, you just sit there and eat your popcorn and enjoy it.
You know, one thing I really liked about the live, die, repeat aspect, much like, you know, Live, Die, Repeat or Edge of Tomorrow, was it didn't like keep going back and going back and going back. I'm not a huge fan of voiceover, but I think it worked really, really well in this movie where he just explained what all was going on. And he even started giving the different characters that were killing him names, even though he never knew them. I really like that aspect. I think it worked really well instead of like Groundhog Day, constantly showing you the same scenes. He'd explain it.
Yeah, I like the names he came up for the people as well. I mean, I guess he had so many interactions with all these different people because without giving away too much, he's being harassed by a group of people over and over again.
Harassed, Mike? Really?
Harassed.
Okay, we'll go with harassed. That's the most extreme level of harassment I've ever seen in my entire life.
Okay. All right. Harass.
Okay, Mike. So, I don't know how much more we can discuss before we start spoiling it because there is quite a bit because it is what it is, a time warp movie, and we have to we get to discuss the interesting things of it. Here you go. Here's one. Mel Gibson was hardly in this movie at all, but yet he is, top billing on this guy.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Mel Gibson is in it, and Naomi Watts, but they're barely in it, barely in this movie. So it's really maybe just to help promote the movie. I don't know. Ken Jeong. Yeah, I didn't know how to say it. He's in this, and he's in it more than those guys. So I don't know. But he's not as famous. He's only the naked guy who jumps out of the trunk in Hangover. So
that is not true. He is extremely famous now.
Is he?
Oh yeah, dude. The Masked Singer. He's been on the Masked Singer since the start, and people love his shtick on the Masked Singer. He actually has a sitcom that's in its 5th or 6th season on one of the major networks. It's based around him being a doctor because that's what he really was for many, many years. Some people know that. Most people, I think, would know that. But Ken Jeong started out going to stand-up while he was in medical school. And then he continued his thing. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he starts getting picked up for movies and, doing little side things. And when you get in with Judd Apatow, man, I mean, you're pretty good, And so now, I don't know if he practices medicine anymore, but I know he's still licensed, though.
That's pretty interesting. Okay, man, I didn't know that he was doing all those things. So he was in this movie, I would say, a lot more than Mel Gibson and Naomi Watts' character, which are pretty big names in Hollywood.
Yeah, it was kind of nice that he wasn't doing his little shtick either. I mean, he still was being kind of goofy and silly, but Ken Jeong kind of has this really over the top, like goofy shtick, which is fine. That's what he does in stand-up. That's the kind of comedian he is, and people just really love it. But he really didn't have that in this. He was more subdued. He was still funny, but I mean, I liked his character in this film as little as we saw him, but I really did enjoy him.
Yeah, Matt, the special effects in this movie were pretty good most of the time. I guess they were adequate. They got the job done. At times they were a little bit unrealistic or choppy, but sometimes I think it was funny on purpose. Like they didn't want it to look too real because it was funnier that way. Yeah, I think I liked how this movie didn't take itself too seriously too. It had a lot of just style, I guess, just humor.
It was just a lot of fun. There's not a lot of substance. It's not trying to tell you something. It's not trying to tell you how to think. It's just a fun action flick with a guy that has a major problem and he needs to figure out how to fix it.
Yeah, definitely. Couldn't agree more. Oh, yes, Matt. As I see you waving on the camera, Matt, what are you drinking this fine afternoon, evening, morning?
Morning. Wow. All right. Well, Mike, I am celebrating because that's just what I do because it's the cheapest beer in the store. I'm drinking myself a little Miller High Life Champagne of beers. How about yourself, sir?
Oh, yeah. What are you celebrating? Since it's a champagne.
Nothing. It's just a cheap beer, and I have lots of it.
Oh, okay. So we're just celebrating cheap beer. Nice.
I think that's a quality celebration. And let me guess, you're celebrating another IPA.
No, I'm not, Matt.
What?
Yeah. So check this out. I am celebrating some PBR.
Dude, double celebration of cheap beer. We didn't even plan that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I got a bunch for St. Patrick's Day because I was watching some live streams of some of the bands that I would go see around this time of year if it wasn't a COVID year or last year as well. So it was a little bit sad, but hopefully one day we'll be able to watch live music again in venues and life will be good.
So you bought the PBR because that's what you traditionally would drink when you go and see said bands?
Correct.
Okay. Just explaining it for our many copious amounts of listeners. Oh, and I got something exciting to talk about. Mike, we got a giveaway next week.
Oh yeah, what are we giving away?
I'm not going to announce that yet. I mean, we're approved, but we're going to be giving away a movie next week from our friends at Paramount Pictures. It's been a little bit since they contacted us, but they did, and we got something coming next week. We'll announce it then, so look forward to that. And it'll be a free movie. Digital download, as always.
Nice. It's really great when we can be able to give away something for our listeners. I think they appreciate it. Everybody likes a free movie, right, Matt?
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Right. Who doesn't indeed?
All right, Mike. So speaking of not free movies, the most money-making movies ever, Mike, how does Boss Level relate to the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
All right, Matt. So unlike last week, I realized very quickly that our star in this one is in the MCU already. Frank Grillo was played Brock Rumlow, a.k.a. Crossbones, and he was the star of this movie as well. And he was in Captain America Civil War, Captain America Winter Soldier, and Avengers Endgame.
Very good job, Michael. Very good job. You caught it this time. You started at the top.
Yeah. I mean, you basically get hit in the face with it. And I was like, yeah, I know this.
Well, dude, we got hit in the face pretty good with last week's, but you just missed it. You just spaced it. I mean, Agent Coulson. Come on.
I know. Dude, I totally spaced it.
It's all good, Mike. It's all good. It happens, man. You found another one. You still got it. So it counts.
Yeah, man. Matt, we're 213 episodes in. What do we have, like 5 where I didn't get it?
Since we started it, because we didn't start it with the very first episode. So I think you've only not found like 3 or 4. There was one where you didn't find it, but then a listener found it for you. So I'm going to count that one. And I think the ones that you did miss were in really hardcore independent or foreign like based films. Like you remember that one Netflix film we did?
Oh yeah, the martial arts.
The martial arts
right?
one. Yeah, I don't think we found anything with that, and that's to be expected.
Yeah, that was like a Korean movie, right?
Yeah. Yep. It was South Korean. Yeah, that was my pick.
That's okay, man. I tend to pick ones that I'm like, oh yeah, that'll be great. And there's like 3 actors in it. I'm like, oh no, this is going to be really hard to MCU.
Yeah, I think you've done it to yourself more than I've done it to you.
Yes, I don't take into consideration the MCU tie-ins, but I want to go see those movies. So that's what you should do.
Right. Exactly. So speaking of seeing movies, Mike, let's go ahead and enter our spoiler discussion for Boss Level. So if you want to watch this film without it being spoiled, go ahead and click off. So Mike, since I started the conversation, it's your turn to start this conversation. Go for it.
All right, Matt. So I thought this movie was fun, like you said. There's just a couple rough edges here and there. The things I thought were a little bit over the top maybe for the character. I know he's a badass and stuff, but like I felt like he over cursed, if you could do that. I don't know. Like I just felt like he was too much like sailory and too much. It just sometimes it didn't seem like it was working. I don't know. It's a lot in the voiceovers. I think that it's happening when he's just introducing the different characters and stuff. I don't know. This is just me.
I think you're just changing because you're now an old man with a child, and so you don't like the potty words.
That could be, Matt. That could be. I mean, this movie did get me in the feels when he was going with his son, playing video games a little bit. That was kind of cool, where they're playing side-scrolling games. I was like, oh man, that's awesome.
I thought that was great, man. Especially how he starts coming to the realization that he missed all this time with his son, and he starts making it up in his repeating lives. And he starts really diving into who his son is and all the things he's really, really missed out on. And I thought that was great. I really did. I thought that, actually, to be honest, I thought that's how they were just going to end the movie. Like, I thought they were just going to end it with him just being like, F it, this is my life now. And I'm going to get to know my son.
Yeah, I was definitely wasn't sure where they were going with that. It kind of changed a little bit right there. And I guess that the second act, I guess that's the middle towards the third act. And then he does the realization that, his ex-wife and mother of the child is actually still alive the next day, and he's like, "Oh, when?"
and it took the security cams, for him to figure it out. He had 14 minutes?
Yeah. I loved how he stole the helicopter and got over there. Kind of a weird fact, Matt. I was looking at the cast and stuff for the MCU stuff, even though I know Frank Grillo was MCU. The gunner that's in that helicopter is Rob Gronkowski from the New England Patriots and Tampa Bay Bucks. I was like, how did he get that job?
Oh, that was Gronk? I didn't even notice.
Yeah, it was Gronk. Like, I was like, that's kind of weird. But hey, whatever. I mean, it's cool.
Hey, maybe he's realizing that he can't be a footballer forever, so he's just, maybe I'll just be a side character in movies. I'm sure he has plenty of money never to work again, like most professional athletes that are as successful as he is.
Yeah, I think he's probably doing all right. He maybe knows somebody, or who knows how some of these things happen. There was also a former MMA guy in there who's one of the assassins, Randy Rampage Jackson. So I was like, oh, I don't even think I recognized him, so that's not good. But anyway, this movie was fun, Matt. So there's just a few things that are a little weird. Like, I did enjoy the gratuitous head chopping offs. I thought it was kind of funny because it just kept going over and over and over, and just different things. And I forget what the character always said, but she always said, like, I am this person. I did this. Like, it was fun.
Oh, what was her name? She kept saying her character's name, and I did this. Was it Guan Yin, I think?
Yeah, Guan Yin. Yeah, that's it.
I am Guan Yin, and I have done this, or something like that. And then it would just cut. Every single time she took his head off.
Yeah, it was funny because it's like, at first it's like, what? But then it just kept like building. It's kind of like a long gag.
Dude, the one that I had to literally pause the movie because I was laughing so hard tears were coming out of my eyes was when he's racing in the Challenger and the Christian church tour bus or whatever slams into the Challenger, and he not only dies, but he flies through the windshield into the aisle with all the religious people around him. Every single time that happened, I just lost it. How they did it and how he ragdolled in through the windshield. I mean, I'm like, that would never happen, but it was just hilarious. I couldn't take it. I had to pause it. It was so funny.
Yeah, they did it a few times. They didn't overdo that one too much, but they did it a few times, and he always had all this glass in his face.
It was so funny to me. I don't know. And then he starts putting like pieces together later on, like when he's in the bar getting his drink, and he starts realizing that there's like a sword master there that can teach him how to sword fight, and everything kind of almost falls into like being perfect, at some points.
Yeah, so I think that's my only kind of thing that's a little weird about it, is that where you're talking about the bar is, there's this woman who's like this championship sword person, and then there's a guy who's like a security expert, and like, I mean, it's fine. It worked for the movie just fine, but it was just interesting that all these people that he'd been kind of ignoring and was like upset about actually ended up being people that were going to help him in his quest, I guess. His quest to figure out what's going on with the day.
Well, it's just that badass of a bar, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's underground, I guess, right? Because the tracking stuff.
Yeah, because they couldn't track him when he was in the bar because it was underground. Yeah. I don't know, man. I one character that I thought was really strange, and it wasn't the character, it was more the actor, was Brett, played by Will, I believe it's Sasso. Will Sasso is a very big dude and a very well-known sitcom comedian, I guess is a good way to put it. And to have him play like a villain, I had a hard time with it. He did a good job. Don't get me wrong. He did a good job. I really do admire him, and I thought he did well. But every single time I saw him on scene, I would be like, okay, he's going to say something stupid or he's going to say something funny. But he didn't. So.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Will Sasso is... I don't think I knew that.
He played Brett. How did you not know that? Mike was looking at his phone this whole time, people, so that's why Mike sounds like he doesn't know what the hell's going on when I was talking.
Yeah. No, I was paying attention.
It's okay, Mike.
Yeah. It's fine.
It's fine, Mike. Will Sasso from Happy Gilmore. From the TV series Mom.
Oh, yeah, he was in Happy Gilmore. He was the guy who bet him. He's like, I bet you if you hit this, like the ball down past the house or whatever, we'll get back to work, right? When he's one of the mover guys.
He was also in Super Troopers 2. He's one of the Mounties.
Oh, all right. Yeah, he was. Man, okay. All right. Matt, I have one more thing to ask you about in this movie.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, he's paying attention now, people.
So the one assassin who went by Pam, I guess, played by Meadow Williams, she had like this fancy gun, and he's like, "You paid $500,000 for that gun?" And she's like, "Oh yeah," and then I got it engraved or whatever, and $250,000. Wait, you paid $750,000 for this gun?
No,
and then it was like,
she didn't get it engraved. She got it threaded so that she could put a silencer on it.
And that cost $250,000?
I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, all right. So she put a silencer on it, but then it's apparently the gun that was used that was Hitler's gun, right? Like,
it was supposedly Hitler's personal Walther. Yeah.
I was like, what does that have to do with this movie? like that was a weird thing.
I think it was just a gag that didn't go over real well. I mean, it was kind of funny, but he's like, "You've been killing me this whole effing time with Hitler's gun?" And he just kind of, gets very upset that he keeps being killed by the leader of the Nazis' gun. I mean, I understand. I would be upset too, but I think it's just a gag that didn't land real well. I mean, it was funny, but it wasn't like, oh my God, you spent 5 minutes telling this gag and it's hilarious. I mean, it was okay.
But a gag I did think that was, it was a weird scene, but it was still kind of funny, was the, when he's like, I got shot in the face and it went right through here and whatever. And then it started smelling like steak. And he's like, I realized that was my tongue. It was cooked instantly. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
It didn't smell like steak. It tasted like the best ribeye he's ever had.
Oh, yeah. And it was his own tongue.
And then he realized he swallowed his own tongue that had been cooked by a 45 or something like that. I was just like, wow, that is the most gross descriptive thing ever. But I could see that. I could see that. It made sense how he described it.
Yeah. And then there was another thing. He's like, I taste marshmallows. When the one guy got stabbed in the forehead.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard about that.
Didn't he say he tasted marshmallows?
Yeah, something like that. I've heard about that where, people will like have head wounds and stuff, and they'll like smell different things and they'll taste different things depending on where they get hit in the head. I've heard about that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know during open brain surgery, I think they're like, what do you feel now? Like they'll do certain things to try and figure out, like try and map your brain. Cause like the weird thing about everyone's brain is they do stuff differently. Like everybody, like there's general regions, but like where people put exactly stuff is like a mystery and like how it works.
Well, all right, Mike. So do you think our listeners should watch this film on Hulu?
I think if you're just want a nice popcorn flick that's pretty fun to watch, yeah, I mean, it's action comedy. It's fairly violent and lots of cursing, but as long as you're okay with that, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Mike, how many reels?
So I'm going to give this one, Matt, 3 reels out of 5.
Well, good, Mike. I'm glad that we are back to our new normal because I really enjoyed this movie. I think it was just because I was shocked that it wasn't crap. I thought it was going to be just awful, just garbage. I really enjoyed it. I will definitely, probably not in the near future, but watch this again. I really enjoyed it. I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
Oh, wow. 4 out of 5. Awesome, man. Awesome.
Okay, Mike. So next week, we return to the movie theaters with your pick of film. Mike, tell us a little bit about us going and risking our lives to catch the COVID to watch a movie.
Wow. Man, with an intro like that, how could I not tell you about it? So I am interested in seeing Bob Odenkirk's latest cinema masterpiece, and it's called Nobody. It kind of looks like a fun, I'll read the synopsis. Why not? A bystander who intervenes to help a woman being harassed by a group of young men becomes the target of a vengeful drug lord. There you go.
So, Mike, did you know that this movie has been rescheduled 4 times for release?
No, I had no idea.
Thanks to the COVID. Yep.
Man, 4 times.
Yep. It was originally scheduled to open in August of 2020.
Well, I'm glad that the day's finally come. Hopefully, Matt, it doesn't. You don't risk your life too badly, and you get to enjoy some time at the silver screen.
Well, my favorite thing to do is go in and lick the seat and lick all the door handles as I'm going into the theater. Do you think I'm going to have to stop doing that because of the COVID?
You might need to put a pause on it. Just a pause, like either that or maybe like pee on it first and then lick it.
Pee is sterile, so that would help. But, I like having that flavor of butter and jelly beans and hot dogs, all those wonderful snacks that people are holding in their hands and they grab the door to open it. I like it all in like one, like solid, just long lick right across the door handle. It's, to die for.
All right. Well, different strokes for different folks, I guess.
All right, Mike. Well, I'm not going to talk about that because I already had you rolling about strokes earlier today. So, all right. Well, I think that is the end of the Real Film Nerds podcast, episode number 213.
Yeah, dude, 213. Good job, Matt. That's like twice you got it right.
I know. I didn't even look it up. I'm just guessing. So, all right. Well, don't forget, hit us up for our giveaway that we're going to start. We're not going to do it, but we're going to start it on March 31st, which is a week from today. So I think we'll have to figure out something we're going to do related to the movie Nobody. Oh, you know what would work? I just thought of it.
What's that, man?
What we could have our listeners do.
What should we have them do, man?
Email in or Facebook or Instagram or whatever the last time they went to the movie theater.
Oh, man, that's actually a great one, dude. Good job, man.
Yeah, like it doesn't have to be like the day, or it could be even just the last movie you saw in the theaters, but even the month or whatever. Yeah, let's go with last movie. So, Mike, before this, what was your last movie you saw in the theater?
Wonder Woman, the last one that just came out. I saw that in Christmas.
The last movie I saw in the theater before Nobody was Tenet. I have not been to the theaters since Tenet.
Wow.
That's coming up on a year.
Yeah, and Tenet is coming out on HBO Max in May, I think I read.
Huh.
So
cool. Good to know.
It'll be streaming. And wow, yeah. Wonder Woman 1984 was the last one I saw. Yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't see that in the theaters because it was a waste. God, that was so sad.
It was a waste, dude. I bought all these snacks. Thought it was going to be just wonderful. And
Nope. Yeah. There was, well, we already discussed it if you want to listen to our pod, but yeah, there were some good action sequences, but overall that movie was not good at all. It was such a disappointment because the first one was so good. I really enjoyed that first one. So, all right, Mike, we'll do your thing, man.
all right. Well, thanks everyone for listening to the pod, and go out there and try and stream, or if you feel safe enough, venture out into the theaters. All the theaters in the country are hurting. They would love to have any business. Maybe you could rent a theater. I know the theaters, the rentals for the theaters are much cheaper than they've ever been. So that's always an option. Maybe get a couple of your good friends who are not sick, go, and you could bring your kids, even your infants, and go see a movie. That'd be cool. But anyway, thanks everyone for listening, and catch us on the socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we'll catch you next week while we're reviewing the movie Nobody.
Thank you for listening to The Real Film Nerds. Now don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Real Film Nerds. Now go out and catch a movie.
Good morning, Magic 99.1. Who's this?
This is the weekly nerd of movies.
It's got to be Matt Henshaw from the Real Film Nerds podcast. How you doing, Matty?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself there, Lisa?
I'm doing good. I can't complain. That's a fact, especially since you're on the line.
Did you get a lot of golfing in this gorgeous weather we had all weekend, except for the wind?
You know what? I didn't. I actually went mountain biking instead, but I was out in the sun and shine, and it felt great.
Oh, hey, that's just as good. At least you're outside running around, getting into trouble.
Right,
that's
right, exactly. And you were probably inside watching movies.
No, I was running around with clients all weekend. I went all the way to Cottonwood and Jerome and all that. It was fun.
Wow, did you sell some properties?
Yes, I did.
Nice job, Maddie. And I'm pretty sure you saw Boss Level this past week. What'd you think about it?
Yes, ma'am, I did. It is currently streaming on Hulu. It was originally supposed to come out in the theaters over a year ago. Thanks to COVID, it got bought and sold, and Hulu took it over, and it's one of their exclusive streaming products, and I was shocked. I thought it was really good.
Really?
I went into this with really low expectations. I thought it was going to be another Groundhog Day, Happy Death Day, same day repeat, rip-off kind of film, and it was just going to be the same kind of old ball and chain thing again and again that we've seen 5 or 6 times now.
Right.
And it wasn't.
No.
It wasn't. It was very good. It was a lot of fun. It was a silly action movie. It has inner monologue narration that I didn't really think was going to work, and it ended up working really well. Mel Gibson is one of the stars in the film, but he's not really a star. He's hardly in it. He plays the main big bad villain, and he's in it for maybe 10 minutes tops.
Okay.
And I think that was probably a good thing because it didn't take away from the main character or actor, Frank Grillo and Naomi Watts and their characters.
Okay, very good. Very good. Well, you've got me intrigued. How many reels are you going to give it?
Yeah. Oh, I hope you're sitting down. It's not perfect, but I'm giving it 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 reels. That's pretty close.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, the critics are right there with you. Rotten Tomatoes gave it 72. Metacritic 56%, but they're saying that 89% of Google users like the movie. So that's usually how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. I highly recommend watching it, especially if you have Hulu, because you can watch it for free. It is not for the young children. There are lots of murders and killing, and it is a hardcore action movie, lots of swearing, but it is really a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It's a good popcorn flick. I wish it would have been in the theaters. I think it would have been even better.
All right. Very good review there, Matt. What are we going to look at this week?
Well, next week, speaking of the theaters, I'm going to go to the movie theater.
Woohoo! Which one are you going to go to?
Yeah. So I'm probably going to go to Picture Show. I really like those big comfy seats.
Absolutely. And what are you going to see there?
There's a brand new movie. We're doing another action movie. My co-host picked this one. It is starring the last person in the world you would ever think of as a action star, Bob Odenkirk.
Okay.
The film is called Nobody, and it is only coming out in the theaters for right now.
Yeah.
But he plays a normal not stay at home, but a normal dad going about his business, raising his family, when he steps up and stops some criminals harassing a woman on a bus. And then you quickly find out, oh, he's not a normal person. He used to be an assassin.
Of course he did.
Yep. And so it unravels into this hardcore action movie for the next hour and a half.
Very
so
good.
I'm excited. I think it'll be fun.
I hope it's so good. And going to the theaters, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, I really, really, really have missed it. I haven't been since last summer.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm right there with you, Matt. Okay, well, we'll look forward to your review of it next Monday morning on what station?
The one, the only, the incredible Magic 99.1.
Why, thank you.